The year is 2002, and an evil villain known as the Chenguin, operating under his even eviler alter ego as the Vice President of the United States, is blatantly violating the Constitution to get the U.S. into a war based on the false threat of weapons of mass destruction and a fabricated connection between Iraq and the terrorists of 9/11. His intention? To scare the citizens and the Congress into supporting a war which will put the energy resources of the Middle East under his control.
Simply stated, there is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction. There is no doubt that he is amassing them to use against our friends, against our allies, and against us.
Millions of Americans, billions of people around the world, and even a few members of Congress see through the Chenguin's lies. One of these courageous individuals is Peaceman, who in his day job as Congressman Dennis Kucinich leads the early opposition to the Iraq War.
Trapped in a state of fear, ill-equipped to deal with the patriot games, the mind games, the war games of an unelected president and his undisclosed vice president. We did not authorize the invasion of Iraq. We did not authorize the invasion of Iran. This has nothing to do with fighting terror. This has everything to do with fueling a military-industrial machine with the treasure of our nation, risking the future of our nation, risking democracy itself, and the militarization of thought, which follows militarization of the budget.
Peaceman's warnings fall on deaf ears in the halls of power.
Thunder and lightning, crumbling buildings, falling hurricanes of shattering, blood rain scattering, insane happening, souls keep burning in the sky keeps plummeting. Lightning, thunder and lightning, crumbling buildings, falling hurricanes of shattering, blood rain scattering, insane happening, souls keep burning in the sky keeps plummeting.
We'll have to work toward the dark side, if you will. We're going to spend time in the shadows. And a lot of what needs to be done here will have to be done quietly, without any discussion.
In 2007, the Chenguin is aggressively pushing for another war with Iran, making illegal threats against the country with a population as friendly to the U.S. as any in the Middle East. In response, Peaceman has again donned his real identity as the presidential candidate from Ohio to take a bold stand in the Situation Room with Teen Wolf Blitzer.
A rare and dramatic move by a Democratic presidential candidate. That would be Ohio Congressman Dennis Kucinich. Just a few hours ago, he announced he's introducing articles of impeachment against Vice President Dick Cheney. What about the argument, Congressman, that this is during a time of war? And that's not a time to go after impeaching a sitting vice president.
Well, we have to keep in mind that the United States was still involved in conflict during the Nixon years. I think that we have to consider that it's important for us to be able to protect our constitutional form of government. And we're at war, Wolf, because lies were told by top public officials. In this case, Mr. Cheney. That's why we're at war. And the next question is, how do we stop from getting into another war? It could become much worse than it is. This is about being an American. This is about loyalty to our country and to our nation's highest principles.
Before our presidential debate, Kucinich asks his fellow Democrats to join him in justice, but the candidates refuse, putting politics ahead of our Constitution.
Another show of hands. Is anyone on this stage willing to enter into Congressman Kucinich's effort to impeach Vice President Cheney?
Despite being an outcast in his own party, Peaceman continues his lone struggle, receiving great support across the nation from over 50% of Americans who support impeaching Cheney.
It is time to reinstate the Constitution. It is time to impeach Vice President Cheney. It is time to respect international law. Let's stand up for the Constitution and let's go forward to create a new America, the courage to believe and the courage to act on those beliefs. Thank you very much.
Finally, in disguise, Peaceman pursues the Chenguin to the ends of the earth. Chenguin flees from prosecution. But can he escape justice forever? Join Peaceman and his team at the 35percenters.com to help in the quest for justice.
Where are the weapons of mass destruction? We've been looking for months and we ain't found nothing. Please, Mr. President, tell us something. We knew from the beginning that your ass was bluffing. I never thought of this the day that I enlisted, that I'd be dodging bullets, seeking weapons that never even existed. For someone else's personal beef, I risk my health while the commander-in-chief would never come and fight himself. I feel him be